title, the weight of the robe. The air in the courtroom felt thick, like it hadn't moved in hours. Fluorescent lights buzzed faintly above, casting a pale glare on the polished floor and stern wooden panels. At the defendant's table stood a young man, just 17, hands trembling at his sides, eyes fixed somewhere between the edge of the table and the laces on his worn sneakers. His name was Devin Brooks. Devin didn't speak. Not because he was scared. Not even because he was guilty. But because, for the last 4 days since the arrest, no one had actually listened when he tried. From the moment they threw him against the hood of a police cruiser, to now, standing in a courtroom where every glance felt like a verdict, silence had become his armor. Judge Ronald Keating leaned back in his seat, a high-backed chair that might as well have been a throne. He was in his late 60s, white, with narrowed eyes and a mouth that curled just slightly, like he had smelled something foul. His voice, when it came, sliced through the courtroom like cold steel. "You think this is some kind of joke, son," he said. Devin didn't flinch, didn't speak. His public defender, a young man named Seth Wilburn, stood beside him, shoulders hunched slightly in embarrassment. Seth looked like he had just jogged from another courtroom, sweating, juggling files, clearly overwhelmed. He whispered something under his breath to Devin, but the boy didn't respond. His silence wasn't defiance. It was exhaustion. "This," the judge continued, gesturing toward Devin with the disdain of someone swatting a fly, "is exactly what's wrong with the youth today. No discipline, no responsibility, no regard for the law. And now we're supposed to feel sorry for you." A few people in the gallery chuckled quietly. One woman yawned. It was just another case to them. Another hoodie. Another accusation. Another boy with skin too dark and an alibi too soft. Devin had been walking home from his after-school tutoring job when a store alarm went off 2 blocks away. He didn't run. Didn't even notice the noise at first. But the cops noticed him. Hoodie. Nikes. Black. That was all it took. Within minutes, he was face down on the concrete. The prosecution had footage, grainy, distant, but enough for them. A figure running in a hoodie, similar build. His fingerprints weren't inside the store, but there was a partial print on a nearby bench. No stolen items were found on him. No witness had clearly identified him. But in this courtroom, all of that felt like technicalities. Judge Keating rifled through papers like they personally offended him. "You were picked up near the scene," he said. "You had no statement, no credible alibi. And now here you are, wasting this court's time." Finally, Devin looked up. Not high, just enough. Enough to see the officer who arrested him standing near the courtroom door. Officer Tate, the same one who shoved his face into the squad car, who whispered, "Little punk," and "Bet you thought you were slick," under his breath. The same one who smirked now, arms crossed, confident in the outcome. "Do you have anything to say before sentencing?" the judge asked. Seth leaned toward Devin. "We'll appeal. You don't have to speak." But Devin had to. Not for the court. Not for the judge. But for himself. "I didn't do anything," he said softly. Judge Keating rolled his eyes. "Of course not. No one ever does." Devin's jaw tightened. For the first time, he wasn't just tired. He was angry. Not the reckless kind. The righteous kind. The kind that burns in silence until it demands to be heard. "You already decided," he said, louder this time. "Didn't you?" "Watch your tone," Keating warned. But Devin didn't back down. "I walk home from school. I carry a backpack. I do my homework. I volunteer at the rec center. I go to church with my mom every Sunday." But none of that mattered, did it? Because I was wearing a hoodie. A hush spread through the room. My skin makes me a suspect. Not evidence. Not witnesses. Not motive. "Just this," he said, motioning to himself. Keating's mouth curled tighter. "Mr. Brooks, if you continue this line..." "You hold me in contempt?" Devin interrupted. "You already do. You walked in here today and saw a criminal. Not a student. Not a kid with dreams. Just another one of them." The room froze. Even the bailiff shifted uncomfortably. Somewhere in the back, Devin's mother, Leona, wiped her eyes. She had worked double shifts all week at the hospital, barely sleeping, just to be able to be there for this hearing. Then the side door opened. A man in a charcoal suit walked briskly into the courtroom. He whispered something to the clerk, who immediately handed a folder to Judge Keating. The judge frowned, opened it, and his eyes narrowed further. Inside were clearer surveillance photos. Not blurry, not inconclusive, crystal-clear stills from a traffic cam down the block. They showed a taller boy, broader frame, same brand of hoodie, sprinting from the store. The timestamp aligned. The face, when zoomed, was not Devin's. The courtroom was silent. Keating looked back at Devin, and for the first time, the boy met his eyes fully. "Well?" Devin asked. Keating didn't speak. The power in the room had shifted. Devin sat back down, slowly, deliberately. Calm. Still. In control. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't vindictive. He was seen. And that, for the first time in days, was enough. Devin Brooks was not a thug. He was not a dropout. He was an honor student, a debate team captain, a regular volunteer at the senior home on weekends. But none of that had mattered the moment someone yelled, "He fits the description." Leona had always told him, "You have to be twice as good to be seen as equal." He didn't understand it as a kid. Now he did. Too well. When he was finally released, his case dismissed, Devin didn't celebrate. He didn't throw his hands in the air or hug the clerk. He simply walked out beside his mother. Outside, the sky had turned pink with evening. The crowd was dispersing. A few reporters tried to approach, but Devin ignored them. Beside the courthouse steps, another man stood waiting in a tailored suit. He had the same sharp eyes as Devin, but older, more measured. It was his brother, Andre Brooks, assistant U.S. attorney for the district. "You all right?" Andre asked. Devin nodded. "I'm tired, but I'm all right." Andre walked with them to the car. "You handled that with more grace than I think I could have." "I had no choice," Devin said. "Yes, you did. And you made the right one." Back home, as night settled over the neighborhood, Devin sat on the porch. He opened his phone, typed a note to himself. "Respect isn't earned by how quiet you stay. It's earned by refusing to be small." And he meant it. Tomorrow, he'd return to school. Some kids would whisper. Some would avoid him. Some might say nothing. But he would show up anyway, because Devin Brooks knew who he was. And after what happened in that courtroom, they all did too. And that, finally, was justice.